This is your dog. And this is what your dog used to be. A 90-pound apex predator that could snap a human femur like a breadstick. So, did cavemen have pets? Spoiler, the answer isn't just yes, it's weirder than that. Because to get from that to this, you need a biological accident that shouldn't have worked, a survival partnership that changed how humans sleep, hunt and fight, and a 14,000-year-old grave that proves cavemen didn't just use these animals, they loved them. Let's start with the accident.
Here's the setup. Around 30,000 years ago, during the last ice age, ancient humans were nomadic hunters. They followed herds of mammoths, bison and reindeer across frozen tundra, killed them with sharpened sticks, and hauled the meat back to camp. And they had a problem. A weird, disgusting biological problem. Mammoth meat, and most wild game during the Ice Age, was incredibly lean, almost no fat. And here's the thing about humans. We have a protein ceiling. If you eat nothing but pure lean meat for more than a few days, your liver starts to rebel. You get nauseous, diarrhea, headaches. Your body literally cannot process that much protein without fat to balance it out. Arctic explorers in the 1800s called it rabbit starvation. Eat nothing but rabbit for 2 weeks, lean, gamey, zero fat, and you'll starve to death with a full stomach. So, after a big mammoth hunt, ancient humans had a surplus of lean meat they physically could not eat. They threw the leftovers outside the camp. And guess who noticed? Wolves. Specifically, the less aggressive wolves, the ones bold enough to hang around humans, but not bold enough to attack them. They crept closer, they ate the scraps, and they kept coming back.
Now, wolves can eat pure lean protein for months. No problem. Their livers are built for it. So this was the deal. Humans got rid of waste that was literally poisoning them, and wolves got a free, reliable food source without having to risk their lives hunting.
Nobody signed a contract. Nobody shook hands.
It just happened. And here's the part that nobody talks about. This wasn't a one-way street. The wolves weren't just eating. They were auditioning. The aggressive wolves, the ones that growled, lunged, or tried to steal food directly from humans, got killed. Speared. Gone. The friendly ones? The ones that approached slowly? That tolerated being near humans? That maybe even wagged something resembling a tail? Those survived. Those got to eat again tomorrow. Natural selection. But humans were doing the selecting, without even realizing it. Over hundreds, maybe thousands of generations, the wolves that stuck around humans started changing. Their snouts got shorter, their teeth got smaller, their fear response to humans started to fade. They weren't wolves anymore. They weren't dogs yet. Scientists call them proto-dogs. But free meat doesn't explain how a murder machine ends up sleeping next to your kids. That part of the story is even stranger, because wolves didn't just follow humans for food. They started making themselves useful. And what they offered in return, it might be the single greatest cheat code in the history of human survival.
Here's where things shift from convenient neighbours to actual partnership. Once these proto-dogs started living alongside humans full-time, both species realised they had complementary superpowers. Humans had fire, shelter, tools, a predictable camp. The proto-dog? It had something humans desperately needed. A nose that could smell a saber-toothed cat
from half a mile away, and ears that could hear footsteps in the snow that no human ear would ever catch. Think about what that means. For 300,000 years, humans had to sleep in shifts, constantly waking up to check for predators. We literally talked about this in our last video. But now, with a proto-dog sleeping at the cave entrance, you could actually rest. The dog would wake you up if something was wrong.
But here's where this story goes from interesting to genuinely insane. Because proto-dogs didn't just guard the camp. They solved a problem that had killed humans for 300,000 years. Freezing to death in your sleep. During freezing Ice Age nights, when temperatures dropped to -30, humans would sleep piled up against their proto-dogs for warmth. The Australian Aboriginal phrase, 3-dog night, meaning a night so cold you need 3 dogs to keep warm, might be one of the oldest concepts in human language. And during hunts, these proto-dogs could track wounded prey across miles of frozen tundra, cornering animals and driving them back toward the human hunters.
And here's a detail that might genuinely change how you see human history. The timeline of wolf domestication, roughly 30,000 to 40,000 years ago, overlaps almost exactly with the extinction of Neanderthals. Neanderthals were stronger than us, they had bigger brains, they'd survived ice ages for 300,000 years before we even showed up in Europe. But they never partnered with wolves. We did. And some anthropologists now argue that this partnership, this living alarm system, this tracking assistant, this biological edge, may have been one of the reasons we survived, and they didn't.
But let's not romanticize this too much. Not every proto-dog worked out. Some bit people. Some ran off with the food. Some couldn't be controlled. And some had to be killed. This wasn't a Disney movie. Taming a wolf descendant was dangerous, unpredictable, and often failed. For every proto-dog that became a loyal companion, there were probably dozens that didn't make the cut. But here's what's remarkable. Humans kept trying. Over and over, across thousands of years, across every continent, humans kept reaching out to these animals. Which raises an obvious question. Why? Was it just survival math? Or was something else going on? The answer is buried in a 14,000-year-old grave in Germany.
And what archaeologists found inside it changes everything. Okay, so let's take stock. Everything we've covered so far, the garbage disposal, the alarm system, the furry blankets, the tracking, all of it is cold, hard survival math. Logical, transactional, both sides getting something out of the deal. If the story ended here, dogs would just be the world's oldest tool. But the story doesn't end here, because archaeologists found something that survival math cannot explain. In 1914, workers quarrying basalt near the town of Oberkassel, just outside Bonn, Germany, uncovered a grave dating back 14,000 years. Inside, they found 2 humans, a man and a woman, and buried right beside them, carefully placed, was a puppy. Not a full-grown working dog. A puppy.
And here's the detail that wrecks you. Scientists analyzed the puppy's bones and found that it had been seriously ill, canine distemper, for weeks before it died. It had no survival utility. A sick puppy can't guard, can't hunt, can't keep you warm. The only reason to keep a dying puppy alive, to feed it, to nurse it, is because you loved it. This isn't a one-off. Across the archaeological record, from France to Israel to Siberia, we find ancient graves where dogs were buried with ornaments, perforated bone necklaces, wrapped in what appears to be animal skin blankets. Some were placed with their favourite chew bones still beside them.
These weren't livestock. These weren't tools. These had names. These had personhood within the tribe. And here's the thing that makes this story unlike any other domestication story in history. The dog is the only major carnivore ever domesticated. Sheep, goats, cows, chickens, all of those came thousands of years later, after humans settled down and invented farming. The dog? The dog was domesticated by nomadic hunter-gatherers who didn't have farms, didn't have fences, and didn't have a reason to keep a dangerous predator around. Except that somewhere along the way, they stopped seeing a predator and started seeing a friend. And that bond? It never broke. Genetic research has confirmed that every single dog alive today, every pug, every golden retriever, every stray wandering every continent on Earth, traces its DNA back to those same Ice Age wolves. One relationship, one unbroken line. 30,000 years and counting. 30,000 years. From a wolf eating our garbage outside a cave to the thing sleeping on your bed right now. We didn't domesticate dogs. Dogs domesticated us. They changed how we hunted, how we slept, how we survived. And in return, we gave them the one thing evolution never could: a home. Would you have fed a wolf pup during an Ice Age winter? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you want to know what else your ancient brain is doing to you without your permission, like why you wake up at 3 a.m. for no reason, that video is right here.